I remember those early classes. I remember being not good at first. I remember being every character every time I would get into a scene, just kind of like aggro, kind of like not frat boy, but just kind of like, the authority figure. And there's a phrase called, "Oh, you're in your head." On stage, I was in my head. I wasn't present at the moment and stuff. And I found I was really kind of, even though I would have moments where I was like, oh, I was funny, I got a laugh from the teacher or the class, I would have other moments where I'm on stage thinking too much. And it really was kind of, I think, like when I went to the Annoyance Theater, there's a guy named Mick Napier who ran that theater. And his whole thing was just like embracing your failure and reveling in your failure almost. Like, you're going to fail a lot when you do this. And the only way to do it is not think about it so much. And that a couple months with him really got me out of my head. And I remember when I first got, you would take classes for a while, and then when they deemed you were socially acceptable to present to an audience, they would put you on some kind of group.
Put you on stage, yeah.
Yeah, and I remember getting put on a team, and I remember inviting like my parents and bunch of my friends who were in town, and like probably 30, 40 people came to this first show that I did. And it was really bad. It was just like bad. It was not funny and sweaty and blue and just not pleasant. And I was not great. And I remember afterwards, like seeing some of them being a little worried, a little bit, not worried, not openly, just like being overly nice about the show. Yeah, it was crazy. You guys were all standing in line back there. It was so cool. And, I wasn't like worried. I was bummed, wasn't worried. But then maybe 2 shows later, I had a couple friends come back, and I had first really good show where I had a good response. I was connecting with the audience. And once you have that feeling, that's it. You just want to keep doing that. You want to chase that money. You know what I mean? You just want to just feel that feeling constantly.
How did you develop? I mean, it's a long slog, right? To get to a point where finally they're comfortable with you on the stage, and you have to get comfortable with that.
Yeah.
Do you remember how long it took from the time you started taking classes until the time you were actually performing in front of people in an audience?
I would say it was probably 6 months before I took my first class, and the time we started doing shows. And I would say the first 6 months of shows, with a couple exceptions here and there, I wasn't completely ready. Like you have to eat S a lot. You know what I mean? You gotta just really get humble and go through scenes where you just don't get laughs to know what it feels like. You got to bomb a little bit. And I remember, I just remember being grouped with a couple of people who I really responded to. And probably a year and a half in is when I started getting really comfortable, when I started kind of, not stressing before the show. And from that point on, I really started developing, I think, as a player. And then they started asking me to do the big, Monday night shows. And then the thing is if you like it and you've learned how to do it and you do it a lot, like you're going to get good. You know what I mean? You're going to start getting more and more confidence.
Yeah. I mean, I imagine it's like any kind of exercise, right? Like the more you're doing it, you're just going to get better and better at it. And over time, it probably became just easier for you to say funny things without even thinking about them.
Yeah, it's having the confidence to know that if you bomb, so what? I think that's what it is. Like, it's just like, I remember I did this show with Jamie Foxx one time, and he flubbed a line live on TV and started just dancing, and like the crowd exploded. And I was like, that's the confidence of a man who has been performing for thousands and thousands of hours, has died early in his career, has gone up on stage at Madison Square Garden. It's just repetition, you know what I mean? And if you're able to get past all the psychological drama of it, and oh man, I wasn't funny, that was bad, like, and not regress and just kind of keep growing, I think, you're not scared. You can walk into any set, you can walk in anything.
it's almost like you have to have that experience of bombing multiple times in order to pull off that Jamie Foxx thing.
100%. I don't think there's anyone in comedy who just is like, I've always killed. It's just weird. I've just, from my first joke, I think you just have to know that, and to know that failure is not like the end of the world. If you're failing nonstop and you're never getting laughs and you're not happy, then yeah, that is a different thing. But just having a bad show, not connecting with an audience, is something that's going to happen to everyone, and it will make you grow. It will.
If you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire episode, click right here.